Welcome back to the News Beacon, where we take you beyond the headlines to explore what really lies beneath. And today we turn our attention to a moment of profound political irony as the carefully constructed myth of Donald Trump as an untouchable warrior begins to crumble under the weight of reality, shaking the once ironclad faith of the MAGA movement that saw him not merely as a politician, but as a living symbol of defiance, strength, and unstoppable will, a myth that, according to a recent column in the New York Times, was as essential to Trump's dominance as any speech, policy, or rally chant. Built over years of combative posturing, media battles, and a relentless narrative of Trump as a lone man standing between America and chaos, this image convinced millions that whatever else could be doubted, his words, facts, or even election claims, his personal toughness was beyond question. Yet as legal troubles mount, health rumors circulate, and former allies openly question his stamina for another bruising campaign, cracks have begun to show in that once impenetrable armor, prompting not just political analysis, but genuine soul-searching within the MAGA base. The NYT column points out that this unraveling isn't driven by a single event, but by a slow accumulation of moments where the myth met inconvenient reality. Whether it's courtroom appearances that highlight vulnerability rather than strength, reports of frustration behind the scenes as court dates cut into campaign time, or even the simple truth that age spares no man, each moment chips away at the larger-than-life figure MAGA loyalists built in their minds. More revealing still, some of Trump's most fervent supporters now whisper doubts once unimaginable, questioning if the warrior can still fight the same fight, while rivals in the Republican field, sensing opportunity, subtly poke at this weakness, offering themselves as fresher, stronger champions of the same cause. The NYT column argues this erosion of faith is perhaps inevitable for any movement so deeply tied to a single person's mythology, because when followers invest not in ideas or policy, but in the perceived invincibility of a leader, any hint of human frailty becomes more than a personal flaw. It threatens the entire narrative that binds them together. And so, we see a fascinating paradox. Trump remains by far the most influential figure in Republican politics, yet his appeal has always rested on being the alpha, the man who never backs down, never shows weakness, and always wins in now. With every headline, legal setback, or unguarded moment revealing doubt, that image looks less absolute. Some loyalists, determined to keep the faith, frame these challenges as proof of the system's fear, that the establishment is still attacking him. He must still be the warrior they need, but others, particularly those on the movement's fringes or younger voters who join the cause for its energy, rather than loyalty to Trump himself, show signs of drifting away, either towards new voices who promise the same fight or towards broader disillusionment with politics altogether. In private, advisors reportedly worry not just about the courtrooms or polls, but about something deeper and harder to fix: the slow, psychological effect on supporters of seeing their warrior on the defensive, a man once feared now forced to explain, justify, and react rather than dominate the agenda as he did in 2016 and even 2020. As the column notes, this is not about age alone. Other politicians have led effectively into their late 70s, but about the brand Trump built, a figure who could not be broken, mocked, or defeated, whose sheer force of personality rewrote political gravity, and who turned every attack into fuel. The danger, from the NYT perspective, is that once that image breaks, it cannot easily be rebuilt, because it was never about policy wins or legislative detail, but about belief that Trump was uniquely immune to the forces that humble other men. This shift has wider implications too, hinting at a broader generational change within conservatism, where some activists look past Trump and ask what comes next, realizing that even if he survives the legal fights, time itself is an opponent he cannot sue, insult, or out-tweet. And so, as Trump continues to rally crowds and proclaim his strength, the quiet question lingers: do those crowds still see the unbreakable warrior of years past, or a man fighting to keep that legend alive? For now, Trump's hold remains formidable, and underestimating his ability to rebound has been a mistake many commentators have made before. Yet the NYT column captures a truth that even insiders reluctantly acknowledge. Once a myth built on invincibility shows cracks, even loyal hearts begin to doubt, and that doubt can spread faster than any scandal. In the end, the question is less about Trump's health or legal status and more about faith, whether the MAGA movement's emotional core, the Belief in a single man's absolute strength can survive seeing him humbled, delayed, or forced to admit human limits. As always, thank you for joining us at the News Beacon, where we look past the slogans to the deeper forces shaping our time. Don't forget to subscribe, and stay tuned as we continue to bring you the stories behind the spectacle, because in politics, as in life, even legends are still made of flesh and time.